Hello, and welcome to Eden Live, where I am reading all of Eden by FREI live on Facebook and on YouTube, and the recorded clips then make their way onto Instagram, IGTV, normally with a bit of a delay, 1 or 2 days. We are into a completely different register now. Change of pace, change of tone, change of everything. Until for the last 3 volumes of the Eden Miniature series, we were in poetic prose mode. We were delving into matters of the soul. Those are all volumes that belong to the part that is called soul in Eden by FREI. And now we are back down to earth with a bang, and we are into a literal journey, not into a metaphorical journey or a poetic journey, when everything that happened during the planet walk and during the Ice King, and even really you could say during the in the Snowflake Collector, was of a literary, poetic, metaphorical nature. This is really quite literal. This actually happened. This is autobiographical. This is about a trip I took to Europe on a train, or by train, not just one train, when I was about 21, thereabouts. And so when everything that happened during the last 3 volumes really needs to be taken as metaphorical and poetic, then this can be taken more or less literally. This is more or less exactly what happened. And so if you want to accompany me on a journey to Europe, a good few years ago, really, we're really talking the mid-80s, then join me as we start on the tape today. And the first chapter in the tape is called Divestment. I find a cassette tape unlabeled. I'm in the process of divesting myself of accumulated clutter that has started to clog up my life in preparation for a renovation of my flat, and most of the tapes are being, at long last, thrown out. Some, those bought as albums and undamaged, go to the charity shop. Practically all others, with the exception only really of some mixtapes which have memories attached to them and therefore some sentimental value, go in the bin. I hold on to less than half a dozen, which is me being ruthless, I reckon. The unlabeled tape nearly lands in the bin, liner unexamined, but it intrigues me as there are almost no tapes that don't have anything written on them at all, even if on some of them the writing has long faded and become illegible. I take it out of its case and put it in the machine I still own to play tapes which I haven't used in more than a decade. I hear a young voice with a not particularly strong but clearly discernible accent, a little measured, a little studied, a little over-enunciated, declare, "All right, here we go. Europe Tour 1988, the spoken diary." I am listening to myself nearly 30 years ago, and I hear myself say, this is my first experience of this kind as well, so we just have to try it out. My language has not yet acquired any idiom, and Germanisms linger, sometimes prevail. Nothing of what's going to be said is going to be edited in any way. I promise myself that, so that when I'll be listening to it in 2 or 3 or 5, 10 years, I'll feel genuinely embarrassed. Not embarrassed, my friend, so much as astounded. I sound to me like any young man from the past. I recognize myself, but in the way that I would recognize a friend from that time, someone I knew a little, not someone I knew well, let alone someone I was. I don't remember the process of recording this, but I do recall having made the tape. The memory is curious, brittle, alien. The Europe tour, it transpires, starts in Edinburgh with a first diary entry on Monday 14th August, which I pronounce August, and that does embarrass me now a little, though it also endears me to me. At 2:15 in the afternoon, a time by which I announce, with a hint of pride lacing my voice, that I haven't slept in about 24 hours. I've had a very pleasant conversation with two Americans on the train, and upon arrival availed myself of the services of the Tourist Information Office, who have booked me into this guest house. Saying guest house, I sound bemused, almost baffled at my own predicament. Having settled into my room, which apparently has high ceilings and is also pleasant, I've headed out and bought myself tickets to 3 shows at the Fringe Festival, the first one starting at 4:15 p.m. I've just eaten this strange slobbery pizza, which was incredibly cheap though, I note, and people here have time and they let you know they do, which can be charming as well. I describe with awe the light of the city in London pulling out of King's Cross Station at 6:30 in the morning and call Edinburgh wonderful and unlike anything I'd seen before. But I also remark that the drawback of this place is the weather. I'd already spotted someone wearing a fur coat at the height of summer, though I make no reference to knickers. Perhaps I'm not yet familiar with the expression. I seem to be sounding a bit blasé, hearing myself over the headphones, but I'll have to get used to that, I presume. And I'm not joking. Today, I sound to me like a young arrival's idea latter-day Noel Coward, and it hits me. I still own the silver cigarette case I used to use at the time, quite without irony. Hearing this now, I sense there's a fair chance that it might get me to know me better, and I resolve to listen to myself speak to me from the past. And that is the first chapter, Divestment, from the tape. You can tell by the way I'm reading this, this is a slightly strange experience because I'm now reading the thing I wrote after I had been listening to myself reporting in real time on a trip to Edinburgh and then Europe. And so it feels like me talking about me, talking about me, talking about me once removed. Whether this is of any interest to any of you, I cannot tell, and I would not presume it is. But if you find this sort of thing interesting, do join me as I read for you here on Eden Live. The Tape, Volume 6 from Eden by FREI. This continues, all being well, on Wednesday, today being Monday. And until then, do take good care. Love and let love, and see you very soon. Bye-bye.